San Antonio is undoubtedly the appropriate home for the Institute. The Mexican-American and Chicano experiences are inextricably linked to the 300-year story of San Antonio. MACRI is uniquely positioned to lead in commemorating our city's heritage in collaboration with the City Council, the city's Office of Historic Preservation, and the Development Services, Arts and Culture, and Parks and Recreation departments. As the nation's largest Latino-majority city, where much of the progress towards civil rights and inclusion has taken place, we will honor our trailblazers and educate our current and future generations about their important contributions to our community and to the world.
Hi, I'm Councilwoman Melissa Cabello Havrda. When we talk about civil rights, it's good to remember how civil rights is really about our own families. When I was a little girl, I looked up to my grandfather with the greatest respect. He was very important to me. He was not a formally educated man, but he meant a lot to me. One day I was with him walking in his neighborhood on the near west side, and as parents will sometimes do or grandparents will do, he was walking on the street and I was walking in the grass. I remember as a 7 or 8 year old kid that I was kicking at the grass and looked up at him and said, why don't you have any sidewalks in your neighborhood? My grandfather, who was his pillar to me, looked down at me and said, porque no les importa, mija, because we're not important. I couldn't believe that my grandfather was not important to somebody. And even back then, as a little girl, it sparked a fire in me. It led me to be an attorney, to help people like my grandfather, and it led me to run for office. I didn't know it then, but now I know that that moment was my first taste of civil rights. If I pull back from that moment when I was little to a larger picture, to a larger struggle, I see the same injustice. There are thousands of stories like my grandfather's sidewalk story. There are hundreds of women and men who have taken up the mantle of the fight for Latino civil rights. Many, if not most, of these stories happened in the homes and on the streets of San Antonio. We know the legacy of MALDEF and the Southwest Voter Registration Project. We've heard of Gus Garcia, Willie Velasquez, but those icons didn't do the work on their own. There was a strong and committed community supporting their work, and that's where MACRI is needed. I've been a strong advocate for MACRI on the City Council, fighting to increase their funding, championing their cause, which is our cause, our city's cause, our community's cause for justice. Our civil rights history should be celebrated, not ignored. It should be memorialized, not forgotten. San Antonio is the perfect place for MACRI. This is where history was made. In 1954, 4 months before the landmark Brown versus Board of Education Supreme Court decision, a lawyer from San Antonio argued before that same court that Mexican Americans should not be excluded from jury duty. That lawyer was Gus Garcia, and it was the people of San Antonio who raised the money to send him to Washington to fight for their cause. It was a community effort here in San Antonio. That's the legacy that MACRI honors. That's the history that our children should know about. That's why I support MACRI here in San Antonio and will continue to support their cause, our cause, so that the fight for justice, for equality, for civil rights, for sidewalks is never forgotten. That struggle is etched in the faces of our elders and in the hearts of those who have sacrificed for our future. Thank you, MACRI, for your dedicated work, and congratulations on 5 years of shining a light on our proud history. May that light never go out.